Hello, my name is Dan Marzu. I'm with the UW-Madison Division of Extension, Nutrient and Pest Management Program. I'm the North Central Region Outreach Specialist based out of Wausau. Today I'll be discussing activities from the Nutrient and Pest Management Program, as well as incorporating off-farm waste in a nutrient management plan. The reason why we are talking about incorporating these off-farm waste today is because we've had several conversations and questions regarding how to incorporate industrial waste, municipal sewage sludges, as well as septage into a nutrient management plan. Nutrient management plans, which are regulated underneath Act Cap 50, they guide nutrient applications and conservation practices on farms that mechanically apply nutrients to cropland and pasture. We use the performance standards NR 151 and NRCS 590 to provide direction for those manure and fertilizer applications. However, these standards do not provide guidance for the application of industrial waste, municipal sewage sludges, or septage unless they are commingled with manure prior to application. I'll be going through several slides that will actually compare these restrictions and how to effectively apply municipal uh, sewage sludges, septage, and industrial waste into a nutrient management plan. And keep in mind, any application of these materials must be approved and permitted through the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources. When we take a look at limiting nutrients for the applications of these different nutrient sources, manure is limited based on nitrogen and phosphorus, with phosphorus being the most restricted with the soil test phosphorus and the phosphorus index, indicating whether or not we can apply manure based on the phosphorus need of the crop or the nitrogen need of the crop. For sewage, septage, and industrial waste, all are based on nitrogen. The WPDES permit does require phosphorus and potassium sampling for sewage and industrial waste that will be provided to the farmer or the nutrient management planner when they're developing their nutrient management plan. However, all the applications are based on nitrogen um, when it comes to these sources. There are restrictions for wells for all these nutrient sources. So similar to manure, when we take a look at community wells, those wells serving the towns, villages, or cities, we have 1,000-foot setback. It's the same way for sewage, septic, and industrial waste. However, sewage waste, it also includes schools, which is not the same as manure. And as well as septic, it includes schools and healthcare facilities in that 1,000-foot setback. Non-community wells, that also includes schools, unless it's sewage or septic, uh, town halls, restaurants, etc., where people gather together. For manure, that's 100-foot setback, where sewage, septic, and industrial waste, that's 250 feet away from those wells. Private wells, for manure, we have 50 feet, and that increases to 250 feet as well for sewage, septic, and industrial. And irrigation and non-potable wells that might be out there, manure, it's 8 feet, and sewage and septic is 250 feet. So you can adequately know that for any other well other than community wells, for sewage, septic, and industrial, it's best to stay 250 feet away from those wells when applying those. Unlike manure, there is application restrictions near buildings or property lines. So when we're applying these sources near residences, business, or recreation areas, it also coincides with if you incorporate it or inject it or don't incorporate it on the distance away from those places. So as you can see here for non-incorporated, we're at 500 feet for sewage, septic, and industrial. Incorporated, what the DNR defines as 4 inches. It's 200 feet for sewage, 500 feet for industrial. That 500 or 200 for septic is based on whether or not there's lime incorporated, mixed in with the material, and it is incorporated within 6 hours. And then injected, we have the distances there for injection, which the DNR defines as 4 to 12 inches into the soil. There is a provision for businesses or residences to provide permission to lower the distances. So for non-incorporated, it goes from 500 to 250 feet if there is permission. And same thing with incorporated and injected, those distances are lowered. Again, for septage, there is that provision in there whether or not it is mixed with lime and incorporated within 6 hours. Rural schools and healthcare facilities, again, we have that 1,000-foot setback for sewage and septage, or if you inject it, it's 500 feet. Industrial, there are no restrictions. However, if there is a well on the property for those rural schools or healthcare facilities, you have to follow those guidances for the well. And then for the distance to property lines for sewage and septage, you could see the differences there for non-incorporated or incorporated and injected. Application restrictions to the depth of bedrock and groundwater. Manure, we have that 20 inches on high permeability and rock soils, or 12 inches to the water table on wet soil. On sewage and septage, it is based on how permeable the soil is. The Topic Hub article does have the breakdown on how we define permeable soils, and that's at 3 feet. Industrial waste, unless there are groundwater concerns, it is at 3 feet or 18 inches with DNR approval. Application restrictions near surface water. With manure applications, we have those SWGMAs, so 1,000 feet from lakes and ponds, 300 feet from rivers and streams. There isn't allowed, you can apply within those areas if you reduce your application rate and take additional practices to implement to reduce the manure from running off into those water systems. Sewage and septage are all based on slope and and if it's incorporated or non-incorporated or injected in those particular areas. So for sewage and septage, we take into consideration the surface water or wetlands. So we have a 200-foot setback if they're not incorporating it at 0 to 6% slope. At anything greater than 6% slope, we're not allowed to apply any sewage or septage in that field. Incorporated, again, that's defined as 4 inches. We can there's a setback 150 feet. And in injected, we, again, 4 to 12 inches, that's 100 feet. For if we have any dry runs or grass waterways in the field, for a 0 to 6% slope, we have 100-foot setback for not incorporating it. It's not allowed for any slopes above 6%. And then you can see the differences for incorporation or injected in those instances. For industrial waste, we have plat recommendations similar to manure applications. So it's 200 feet from any surface water, including the wetlands. That is reduced to 100 feet when we have a vegetative buffer around the field, or 50 feet if we incorporate it. The DNR may impose additional limitations to the sewage, septage, or industrial waste if there is other resource concerns within that field. For winter applications, which the DNR defines as frozen ground or snow-covered ground, where there's various restrictions. So with manure, we have 7,000 gallons or no more than 60 pounds of P2O5. There might be some additional restrictions based on the slope, distance to groundwater or surface water. In sewage, it is not allowed unless there are no other ways to dispose of that material and you have DNR approval. Septage, there's different POUTS categories. So this is a privately owned water treatment system, and you have DNR approval. Again, this is all outlined in the Topic Hub article that will be provided here later on in the slide. And in industrial waste, it's 6,800 gallons per day, per acre per day, not to exceed the weekly allowance. Again, that's in that The weekly allowances are outlined in that topic hub post. This is restricted to less than 2% slope, and anything greater than 2% slope needs DNR approval. There are cases where I've been asked about applying wood ash to adjust soil pH, and NR 518 actually has some guidelines on applying wood ash to land. So we limit that to 15 dry tons per acre per application, with no more than 50 dry tons per acre per year. The spreading restrictions are 100 feet to any navigable bodies, so surface waters, 25 feet to any intermittent streams, drainage ways, road ditches, or surface tile inlets, 1,000 feet from public waterways or public water supplies, 200 feet from private water supply wells, 200 feet from residences unless written permission is provided from the residents, 25 feet from public roads. You cannot spread this on frozen ground and not on slopes of 6% or greater than 6% unless a soil conservation management plan, and that does include a nutrient management plan. And then you can spread on slopes less than 12%. As of recording this, I'm not sure if the biosolid analysis input is live yet on Stamp Plus version 3, but there is a guidance document on there on how to enter all these products into Stamp Plus. So you can take a look at this website or scan the QR code, and that will take you right to this wiki help site. Here's the website and the QR code if you want to actually read uh, the Topic Hub article on incorporating off-farm waste and nutrient management planning. And or you can contact myself by email or phone, and I'm more than willing to answer any questions that you might have. Here are all the resources that I used to compile all this information, and the respective websites. So up to updates from the Nutrient and Pest Management Program. We have hired a couple people from last time we had these update meetings. So we have Matt Bolin in the Northwest, and Laura Flandemeyer. She's a statewide pest management outreach specialist that works with the PAT program statewide. We have Dan Smith, our program manager, Landon Baumgartner in the Southwest, Chris Clark in the Southeast, Chris Clark in the Northeast, and Jordan Campa in the Southeast. We currently have a vacant position in the South Central region. And then, of course, myself, Dan Marzu, in the North Central region. We are continuing on with our NMFE online course. So it's a nutrient management farmer education class. We have moved this to Canvas. We have 10 modules spanning several topics in nutrient management and soil fertility, with a variety of different YouTube videos and reading materials. And this is available all year long. So if you have a farmer that needs to qualify for writing the nutrient management plan, they can access this all year long. Or if you want to learn more about soil fertility or nutrient management planning, feel free to sign up for this class. Registration, you can access the class right from the Department of Ag, Trade, and Consumer Protection Nutrient Management website, and it'll take you right to the links where you can sign up and access the Canvas course and go through all the modules. We are continuing on with the Wisconsin Cover Crop Data Network. This is in partnership with the Michael Fields Agricultural Institute, the Nature Conservancy, and the USDA Dairy Forage Research Center. This is a project that began in 2020 with fall biomass and a farmer survey, and we have expanded it to include a fall and spring biomass collection, farmer survey, tissue analysis, and a forage analysis. So we have over 220 fields, different locations, soil types, sizes, and crop production systems. And you can scan the QR code in the bottom corner here, and it'll take you right to the dashboard where you can explore all the data. Within the dashboard, you'll see a new tool called a scenario tool. This where you can choose different scenarios, anywhere from looking at cover crops that help with erosion control, weed suppression, forage quality for grazing, soil texture, county that you're in. Once you add all these in, you get different little cards highlighting what those covers might look like and what counties. So as you can see here, there's a nice little picture of a cover crop that has some sunflowers and a wide variety of other covers, including hairy vetch, red clover, radish, and buckwheat, as well as what the biomass was. Then you can click on that little farm details and it'll actually pull up all the data that we gathered for that farm. So this includes the when the covers were planted, what covers are planted, the soil type, forage quality, nutrient tissue samples, and then you can actually kind of see what is all going on in that field and what might happen on the fields um, in that county if you planted that particular cover crop or cover crop mix. You can click on this QR code and that'll actually take you directly to the scenario tool for you to explore for yourself or to share with farmers that you might work with. We did revise the version 3, the Snap Plus Quick Guide to include all the new information from version 3, including the new map layers and all the processes that take to create a nutrient management plan in version 3. We have the Nutrient Management Farmer Education curriculum available, so feel free to scan that QR code and you're able to download all the slides to put on a Nutrient Management Farmer Education workshop for your county or area. We are continuing to host bumper crop videos posted on our YouTube channel, and this will provide updates on what's going on throughout the growing season. So feel free to take a look at that and learn what we're seeing out in the field. We have our Fast Facts magazines that are also available as hard copy to include with your management farmer education classes throughout the season. And we are holding our virtual nutrient management training workshop on March 13th. This is available for anyone, including yourself, as folks that work with farmers, to learn more about nutrient management planning and soil fertility. So here's an outline of all the topics we cover and a QR code to take you to the website to register. With that, I want to thank you, and here's the crew again. To feel free to reach out to any of them to ask any questions, and look forward to working with all you in the future. Thanks.